I want to welcome everyone back to Drunk Sports Combat. This is the forum where we talk about all things in the combat world: boxing, MMA, street fights, pit fights, bar fights, chick fights, all of that. We talk about all of that, man. You know what I'm saying? Allow me to reintroduce myself. It's your boy Cash. And as always, I got my boy Q with me and my brother King Amin of the championship rounds. Like I told you last time, one of the dopest shows out on YouTube. All my hardcores, my boxing enthusiasts, people who crave the nuances of the boxing world, that's the channel you need to check out. Like I said, if you're a novice, he'll educate you. And if you're a hardcore, you'll enjoy the show. What's going on, fellas? How y'all feeling?
What's good, man?
Good, man. Good. Feeling good.
Feeling good, man. Like, listen, let's just get right into the shit, man. Like, we were on last week, right? And we previewed this card. Let's start with the Ryan Garcia card, right? And what I like to do, I like to start with the main event, and then I like to kind of work my way back because sometimes people have short attention spans, so they won't tap in if I get to the underground dudes. You know what I'm saying? So, not that there was any underground dudes, but let's start with the Oscar Duarte Ryan Garcia card. We kind of previewed it last Monday. We were confident in Ryan. I think we had him at 55-45. We were confident in him, but we also were saying, listen, Duarte is a pressure fighter. He's a hard puncher. He's a tough guy. He's not going to be an easy out. And we were kind of all a little bit skeptical, including myself, how Ryan would look coming off of the tank loss, where his mental would be at, getting with Derek James, a new trainer. He's went from Joe Goosen. Before that, he had Eddie Reynoso. So he's been kind of hopping around the board a little bit. Seems like he's might have found a home with Derek James. I was really looking at their chemistry, press conference, and during the fight and post-fight. And they seem to me like they kind of click. They kind of like each other. I think they're going to kind of build. I do see kind of like a chemistry. It is very early still, but a good fight. Before I get to the actual fight, though, because we didn't get, when we was on, the press conference hadn't happened yet, right? So a little bit of contentious behavior with Ryan that week and Bernard and Oscar, right? So let me just break it down real quick because I want to ask you guys before we get to the fight what you think it is. I can't remember actually ever seeing anything like this, man. Like where a promoter and their promoters are openly like shitting on their fighter. It felt like to me, you know what I'm saying? And I like Bernard. Oscar, I like Oscar too. I grew up liking Oscar, but he's done some shaky shit. But openly shitting on their guy. I seen Chris Algieri on Pro Box. He basically said that he used to beef with his promoters all the time, but he never did it in public. He never seen a promoter actually do it in public. And basically what had happened was, in a nutshell, I believe, I'm going to start from the beginning, and correct me if I'm missing anything. Oscar and Bernard, to me, seemed a little bit salty about Ryan kind of like forcing that tank fight, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? He kind of pushed the envelope on it. You seen him running up on none of LB, putting it out in the media. He kind of forced their hand, if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think they liked that. They didn't like being the B-side. They didn't like conceding to Al and Floyd. And, we know all the history between them. Ryan essentially gets knocked out. He was outclassed. Everyone knew Tank was going to win. Then they don't show up at the press conference, right? Joe Goosen doesn't show up. Bernard, Oscar, none of Golden Boy's guys. I think maybe like a Golden Boy representative might have been there. I can't remember. But they don't, they don't show up at the press conference. Ryan's feeling embarrassed, I would think. A little bit, very disrespected, right? Then it goes away, starts to dissipate. You hear about some contract problems and blah, blah, blah. A month or 2, 3 go by, starts to dissipate a little bit. Then out of nowhere, Bernard Hopkins, the legend Bernard, who I love, essentially kind of opens the wound a little bit with a statement basically, and I'm going to paraphrase. He basically said that we're going to evaluate Ryan Garcia, and from there, after that evaluation, we'll see if we're going to continue to let him box, which I thought was kind of strange. You know what I'm saying? So Ryan, in an interview with Brian Custard, and remember, correct me if I'm wrong on this, interview, I feel it's important to get to the backstory. Ryan, in an interview with Brian Custard, said something to the effect that was like, yo, what are you talking about? You ain't letting nobody do shit. I do what the fuck I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Basically, and you guys are going to be sorry. He even referenced like them being like a salty ex-girlfriend or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, baby, you guys are going to be saying, baby, come back and all this crazy shit. You know, then Bernard responded saying, you know, I'm going to call your bluff and all this other crazy shit. Fast forward, they go to the press conference. Ryan jumps out the window on stage in front of the whole world. Basically, you know, shitting all over Oscar, shitting all over Brian. And I'm just saying to myself, wow, this is fucking crazy, man. What I mean, let me go to you first. For you to be a giant promotion company, right? They already lost Canelo, their main guy, right? Their cash cow, so to speak, right? So Ryan seemed to be the heir to the throne. Maybe not the best boxer out of the stable, but definitely the most visible, the one with the most fans, the popular one, the draw, so to speak, right? I'll openly shitting on him like that. You know, when you were watching this, what was your take on that?
Growing pains. And not only that, I think it's appropriate at this point. So you talked about a few things. Let's unpack it a little bit.
Yeah.
He had to force the Tank fight because if they didn't have the confidence in him to begin with, right? Or if they said, no, we're going to slow you down. They was Democrating him. See, a Republican going to let you know where you stand. They're going to let you know you have to go for the gusto. A Democrat going to spoon feed you and tell you how unprivileged you are. So they was Democrating him. And he like, nah, let me fall on my sword as it will. Now, Ryan doesn't get a lot of credit for that because what he did was something similar to what Conor McGregor did, something similar what Ngannou might have done. You create some fuck you money. So now you say, yo, of course they didn't believe in me and I got this bag. And whether they showed up or not, he learned a lot about himself. You said he liked Derek James. They click personality-wise. I'm cool with that because he needs to feel Ryan is temperamental. He needs to feel supported. And that's how you get the best out of him. So when you put his back against the wall and then you kind of let everybody know that you kind of, we'll evaluate him. It's a fair statement, by the way, because what they're saying is a fighter coming off of a loss, we're going to put him in there and see how he does. What they're not saying is, yo, if this motherfucker don't do good as we expect him to do, then we knew he wasn't shit to begin with. So it's that double language, but it's a fair position for the company to take. That's why us blue collar, hard working folks, we say, yo, don't be no fucking company man.
Yeah,
these motherfuckers ain't pay you no extra. You know what I'm saying? So that is the nature of the business. Didn't we see kind of Ellerby and Floyd have some sort of contention, as he was ascending to the point where he is? So as you become the man, hell, let's take it to music. Lil Wayne and Baby had issues, and that's supposed to be his daddy in quotes. Like,
that's a fact. That's a fact.
If you're trying to ascend to a certain level of greatness financially and skill wise, you're gonna ruffle a few feathers, and don't be surprised if they be the same motherfucking feathers on your side. You know what I mean? Q, what you think?
Like, I agree. Like, we're gonna expect that to happen. I guess, like, coming from like the business standpoint of things, I don't think they should have did it in that type of platform. We all know he was gonna be, we all know, and press conferences. You know what I mean? Like that's like the owner of a Giants basketball team. Hey, if our next press conference, if Dable and the Giants lose another game, he might be gone next year. We all know what's going to happen, but we don't want to publicly humiliate him because we do know Ryan Garcia is a little softy, bro. He's a little baby. He's still growing, man. Like, he can fight and all that shit. He'll beat the shit out of you, but it's like get beat up by a little dude who just came out of kindergarten. He's like that baby dude who, you know what I mean? He's like the little baby guy that still has some growing to do. He still hasn't matured yet fully in my book, but we all knew he was going to get evaluated, and we all know he doesn't have much left in his contract. I think his contract ends in 2024 because he signed 5 years in 2019, right? So, he's probably going to be like, fuck you too, man. Y'all niggas shitting on me, man, after these couple of next 2 fights, I'm out. You know, he might pull a Canelo and he might win the next couple of fights and then dip out. You know, it's going to be interesting to see how he makes these decisions in his life, especially with his trainer now, and see, because I do see him transitioning into a different boxer. So I wonder if that's going to transition into how, you know, how his maturity is going to be on his personal and business side of things as well.
No, let me ask you right quick, Q. Yo, do you think that him drag, I call it, you know, well, in DC, they say you dragging on him. He was dragging his nuts. Do you think that was a sign of maturity, or do you think that was a sign of that fragileness that we know him to be? Do you think it was strength, or do we think it was him cracking a bit? What you think?
I think it was a little bit of maturity, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's good to see him be that, like, because for him to be that type of person, which he's normally not, it's showing that he's growing. Whether or not, you know, it's going to be in a way we like him and see him grow, but something's changing and something clicked, and you know, and he has to give thanks to Gervonta Davis and losing that fight, because now it's all clicking. And if that fight doesn't happen, it was going to probably end up happening 2-3 fights down the road, and probably would have been even worse, to be honest. You know.
You know, the maturity, I'm glad you guys brought that up, because I was getting ready to say that. And it's a couple of points I want to make. One, Ryan has, if you follow Ryan's career from a while now, he's matured immensely, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? He used to be this little arrogant kid, you know, like we all were when we were kids. You know what I'm saying? You know, people think he's good looking, so he had that going for him. He was arrogant. When I first, he minded me a little bit of
shit.
He didn't even have to change back then. He was just like, he had this arrogant aura about him. He thought he was God's gift to whatever. Kind of reminds me of AB a little bit. Not as bad as AB. AB, you know, was really out of control. Even though I love AB, but I think he's immense. He always praises God now. You could just see he's a little bit older now. He's been around the business a little bit, you know, a little bit of time now. He kind of understands it. What you're saying is, do we think that the lashing out at Golden Boy was a sign of maturity? I think absolutely. And I think I don't like the way they did it in that forum. And I kind of blame a little. I'm more on Ryan's side than I am on Oscar's and Bernard, only to the fact that if you're a fighter looking to sign with Golden Boy, right? I'm saying to myself, yo, this guy just threw their main fucking breadwinner under the bus in front of the whole world in a week. He's going into a big rebound fight, right? I'm looking at that kind of sideways, like, yo, I don't know if I'm gonna trust these dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit seems kind of fishy to me, right?
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
Real quick. Yeah. And guess who's the king of the Matruskis? Arnold Barbosa. Because first thing he do, I got him.
I hand the light work, Bernard. I heard him say that slick shit. Yeah,
man, they gonna fuck around and put him in the dress. He the king of the Matruskis, man, looking like Joey Chestnut at the fucking hot dog contest.
Yeah. And they seem like the whole fight week. It seemed like, you know, they didn't say it, but the energy felt like, obviously I felt like they wanted Duarte to maybe slap this kid and teach him a little lesson. I can't say that for sure. He is that cash cow, but they're probably thinking, if he's gonna walk out the door, fuck it, let's send him out with an L. What? And Barbosa's running around. He's calling TOI. He's calling his people out. I would like to see that fight. I probably want to see the Rolly fight before that, and there's a couple other fights I might want to see first. But let's get actually into the meat and potatoes of the fight, right?
Let's go.
I will say this. I was like, I wonder what's gonna happen. Lupe walked him out to Superstar. I was like, this is gonna be a night. Kind of like I knew, and this is crazy. This has nothing to do with the technical sweet science of boxing. When Eminem popped out on Terrence Crawford walkout, I was like, oh, Spencer's done. It's just a feeling I had. You know what I'm saying? It had nothing to do with it, but I just felt the energy. So that was dope. I was like, okay, he coming out with Lupe. That's a good look. You know what I mean? He understands the moment. He understands what this is, right? I felt Ryan had a little bit of nervous energy when he first got into the ring. Like you said, like you had stated, I mean, he is a pressure fighter. He is a puncher. He's gonna stay on you the whole fight. All 12 rounds, he's gonna come forward. That's mentally and physically exhausting. So I was like, I think Ryan's gonna. I thought Ryan was gonna wash him, but I did have my doubts. Listen, Ryan is real fast. He started out working the jab. You can see him and Derek James was working on that jab. That really wasn't in Ryan's tool bag. He did abandon it at certain points, but I'm watching Ryan in those first couple of rounds, and I'm saying to myself, yo, this kid has all the fucking tools in the world to be a world-class fucking guy. Fast twitch, the speed, the power, the elusiveness, the counter punching, the timing, the accuracy. He has a good chin. All shit you can't teach, right? You can't teach that type of shit. Skill-wise, right?
Real quick, what I noticed with the jab, he was contemplating whether or not, because he was throwing it not even he was kind of slapping it like, as Briggs would say, he was like pimping it, like pimp slapping it. But he was also trying to figure out whether he was going to check hook him.
Yeah.
So he was am I going to jab this dude or am I just going to check hook him? So he was in between thoughts about it. You know what I mean? But I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see him thinking in there. Absolutely.
Yes. Yes. And credit to Derek James and credit to Ryan for being coachable. You know what I'm saying? You can see the development, right? But I do want to say this.
Yeah.
Yo, Q, what you think about, you know what I'm saying? I call it the West Covina shell. Here you go. I call it the West Covina shell. I don't know if he learned that from the great Sergio Moro, right? Or is that the silly shell, as they've been calling it on Twitter?
That was the James Toney shell right there. That wasn't the Floyd shell. I don't know. I'm not sure what that was, but
that was the Tony shell. That shit. It was more like pause. Like, it was a domestic violence shell. It was like, you know, hitting you, and you're like, yo, chill, yo. You don't want to hit her back, so you're like, chill. It was like, come on, like, you know what I'm saying? Yo, shorty, chill. Like, shorty, chill. It really wasn't, eloquent or athletic. You know what I mean? It was more like reflexive. You know what I mean?
I know this is not a popular opinion, and a lot of people immediately shit on the show, and Ryan kind of led that charge because he made the joke about Derek James said, stop doing that shit. You ain't Floyd, and never do that shit again. But I actually liked it in certain spots. Now, it didn't work at all. He was susceptible to that left uppercut and that left cross a lot doing that show. But in certain spots, it worked. Q, what do you think?
I agree. You know, I think he definitely caught Duarte off, and Duarte didn't make no in-game adjustments, because if Duarte did start realizing, he would have threw way more left hands, because, he's doing all this, but his body was still kind of open. So if he's throwing a left hook to the body shot, he probably going to hit him a little bit more. But instead, Duarte still wants to try to punch him in his head, and he's hitting him in the back of his head. You know what I mean? He's getting cold, and he's going to get some, and that's kudos to Ryan Garcia. He noticed, and he abused the shit out of it. And eventually, Duarte, if he don't fix it by the fifth round, he's gonna lose points. But I was
Ryan should have got Duarte out of there faster than that. I'm sorry, Duarte. Not to cut you off. Duarte doesn't move his head. No lateral movement. A pressure fighter that doesn't punch. You know what I'm saying? Like that fight. No, I've seen him punch before. But that fight, he was a little bit leery of Ryan's power. He was definitely on alert for that check left hook. You know what I'm saying? You can see that he was that hook wasn't landing the whole night. Ryan even started going to the right hook, and then he winds up landing it. But I think Duarte let him off the hook a little bit. And Duarte, can we please, before you do anything with anything, learn how to cut the fucking ring off or get an 18-foot fucking ring? Do something, because he was dancing on you all night. That was terrible.
All night.
For a pressure fighter not to be able to cut the ring off like that was terrible, man.
And I want to ask you guys, because this is what I was kind of worried about too.
Amin frozen. Hold on, see if we can get him back. Yeah. No, that was terrible, man.
Yeah, and then
we'll hopefully get a king. Amin, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, here we go. Yeah.
And then what I was thinking about the like the shoulder roll, like the first thing that came to my thought was like, yo, did Tank Davis really fuck him up, where he's just like worried of getting hit there, because that was the same side. The commentator said it too, and that's what I was thinking too, because we saw Duarte going for his body a little bit, because he didn't start that shoulder roll shit up until like almost like after the first like 3-4 rounds, and that's when I don't know if he started feeling something, or like, and we know he got fractured ribs, so I don't know if he's incorporating that because out of fear and mentality. I think that's something that Derek James is gonna have to just work up out of him, but that was what my 2 cents was. I was like, all right, because it's working for him, but it's not going to work for him all the time. But it's also just like concerning if it's still bothering him after all this time.
I'm gonna flip that though, Q. I think that is, pun intended, a bit of boxing IQ on Ryan Garcia's behalf, because he was trying a few things. Because remember, he got on his bike. A bit, you know what I'm saying? And like
De La Hoya Trinidad shit,
exactly. And he did react to it to where he started. But isn't that what we want to see? Because, and I mentioned this on the last show, when we know a fighter is known to be a knockout fighter or known to be a big puncher, and then he's posed with a different challenge. What does he do differently? And so when you talk about, is he carrying some fear from the Tank Davis fight? Sometimes think of Canelo Floyd. You get an education. You go from a master's to a PhD when you get in the ring with certain guys. And so I think he realized at a point, there was some fear. He's like, yo, I don't want to get hit to the body. And this guy's been knocking everybody else the fuck out, right? So he had to kind of feel it and go through, living through that fear, taste it a little bit, get hit to the body. Like, I ain't go down off this one. You know what I'm saying? He had to go through that. And to see him kind of evolve in this fight, people can say what they, even Clarissa Shields said, yo, I want to see what he's doing with this leaning over with his chin. Sure, he's got a lot of shit to work on, but against a shorter fighter that was only going overhand and he was rolling it, I don't think he was concerned about his chin. I'm just talking about the, you know what I'm saying? If you know somebody's going to keep coming overhand, even if you leaning over, you're going to pull back or you're going to roll.
Yeah. He's doing the TikTok,
and he's quick enough to do it. So
I think he has to clean that up. I mean, because
definitely
that straight pullback, you know what that is? All that is muscle memory. And I forgot who said it. I looked at so much stuff this week. All he got to do is get back in the gym consistently and retrain the way your muscles think, if that makes any sense. You know what I'm saying? Those are just bad habits, and sometimes you revert to those. One last thing about Duarte, man. Duarte, he was calculated. I think he could have thrown way more punches. You remember when he fought Alex Martin? He was throwing a lot more punches to the body, up top. With Ryan, he was seemed to be very worried about those counter punches, to the timing of it. Yeah.
You gotta respect that. Even Tank said that though, you know.
Yeah.
He can hit you. He's just so quick. He can hit you. You know what I'm saying?
He's lightning fucking quick. Ryan got to go back to the lab, and there's some shit he has to work on. But look, like Malik Scott and Deontay Wilder, man, when he first hooked up for that last Fury fight, you seen Deontay coming out trying to shoot the jab to the body and all that. Then he kind of abandoned it. Let these guys get their rhythm together. Let's judge him maybe after the third fight or something like that. When they have a little time to work together. To your point, I mean, he does take instruction well. He seems like, the knock on Ryan was always, you don't train with Ryan. You kind of just take the ride with Ryan or whatever they were saying. He definitely listens to Derrick James. You see the way he speaks about him. He talks about him in high regard. And I think he has a lot of respect for Derrick James. And to be honest with you, Derrick James needed this win as much as Ryan Garcia did, in my opinion.
Real quick, do you think it's a big cultural difference as far as like, boom, Ryan is, Mexican American, but maybe just being more of a LA kid, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And Derrick James can relate to him a little more. They want him down on some cholo time, and he's like, yo, I ain't with that. You know what I mean? I ain't with La Raza. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's not. He's more like absolutely, that's a good point. He fits in, even though he's Mexican American. I feel like he fits in with Spence and them. You seen him at the fight with Spence and Danny, betting, talking shit, and he got Lupe walking him out, and like he's just more of like a younger generation, the cultural hip hop type of kid. You know what I'm saying?
And I'll take it a step further. We ain't gonna go too far, but he's more Latino than Hispanic.
Yeah, facts. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like it seems like there's more, you know what I mean? Like that's more of the Caribbean vibes where we can relate. So that's how you fall in with them guys over there, you know what I'm saying? But shout out to Ryan, man. What you guys think is next to him? Rolly or Broner or what?
Hold up. I want to play a clip, but before I just wanted, because that was a really good point you made. And me and Q was just on the phone with his cousin about an hour ago who's locked up. He up in the hills somewhere, right? And we always say this. And if you're from the tri-state area, you're going to notice, and this is to your point, the Brooklyn Puerto Rican niggas are different than the Bronx Puerto Rican niggas.
Absolutely.
And if you from his area, you understand what we're talking about. Absolutely. Ryan's more like a Brooklyn Puerto Rican nigga, and he was with them Bronx Puerto Rican niggas when he was out there. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
If you know, you know. But I'm gonna play a clip. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna play a clip from Rolly. I love Rolly, man. Rolly maybe he's not the most polished boxer, but he's the new AB. He knows how to sell a fight. He talks shit, and while he's trolling you, you can see he's holding back his fucking laugh. You know what I'm saying? This is a clip from Rolly, and I want you guys to give me your thoughts on what he says.
some of the improvements from Derek James though, like more of the jab, more distance control with the lead hand and
I don't
stuff.
know. I think Derek James is you know how like all these fighters or trainers are like, oh, they get trainer of the year and then they're the worst trainer for like the next 3 years. I mean, he has a pretty bad track record. I mean, he made Ryan 10 times worse. He fucked up Spence's career. Anthony Joshua, I mean, go after Joshua, and Frank Martin ain't looking too good. So yeah, maybe it's time for him to go back to like Joe Goosen or something.
Well, he did call you out basically after the fight. Like that's the fight he would like to have next. What'd you think about that?
I don't think he deserves it.
Oh, he's crazy.
I don't think he deserves it.
Yo, we're gonna call him Reckless Rolly Romero.
Yo, Jesus Christ.
He went on to say at the end of the interview, he's like, no, this is a big, huge fight or whatever. But Rolly likes to talk his shit. And that sells fights. I got the rankings up. We could look through a bunch of names, right? We could look at who's on Golden Boy. We could look at who are the best guys at 140. But at the end of the day, I think that fight is the fight that sells the most. What do you think, Q? Before I go to me.
No, I agree. I wanna see that, and I think that's the fight. Yo, I feel like, especially nowadays, boxing with all these good fights, I feel like when they call you out in this ring, it's almost back to that era that they end up eventually fucking fighting. And that was, Ryan called him out. Rolly wanted, that little disrespectful motherfucker, but he's entertaining this shit, and he can box. But I definitely want to see that. No, he's not. But he's entertaining as fuck.
He's getting better though. He's getting better. Yeah,
he's getting better. But Ryan going to tear that shit up. But and that's who I want to see Ryan. Because I want to see Ryan fight him, and then I think by that time he'll be polished enough. If Teofimo is still boxing and his mental is right, because I want to see him fight Teo, man. But I don't know. I feel eventually I eventually think Teo's gonna just cash out eventually. I don't know. I just get that feeling.
I don't want to see him against Teo and them niggas for at least another 3 or 4 fights, in my opinion. But I get what you're saying. It is a big fight, and it's a sexy fight. Him and Teo. They were talking about that for February, the Super Bowl of boxing or whatever the fuck Oscar was talking about. He even said it. He's definitely not ready for Haney. He's definitely not ready for Teo. The 4 Kings or whatever. Shakur talking reckless. He talking reckless back to Shakur. I mean, the Rolly fight. Forget about the sweet science and inside the ring. That's the big fight, though. That's the big fight for Ryan, right?
Not only is it the big fight for Ryan, you coming in off of the loss to Tank, but you got the big win over Duarte. Then you turn around and put him in there with a common opponent with Tank, and then say, hey, you know what? I really would like the Tank fight again, a rematch. I'd like another crack at that.
Right.
Rolly gives him not only an opportunity for Rolly to make a bet. Rolly's just playing with house money at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
It gives Ryan an opportunity to look great. Rolly and Bullet another chance to get another bag, right? Facts. And it puts Ryan, it leaves him in that spot. My question was though, because I had put this on my Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is the one smoke and mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan got to decide if he can get down to 140, because we talking about him fighting these guys that are real 140, legit 140s.
That's a good point.
143 and
you know what I'm
saying?
Basically came in as a welterweight, pretty much.
So in a way, I'm saying, is he ducking smoke? Because if he go to 147, then it's hell, or is it, something that, because this isn't the first time either, right? It's even with the Tank fight, right? There was some issues with hydration because he didn't want to go all the way down to 140. So we talking about what's he doing at 140, but he got it. So in a way, but here's the upside. In a way, this is prize fighter shit.
Yes,
this is Canelo with the 155, and this is Tank fighting the who, right? Whoever. So you put the two together, and you're still giving Ryan the credence to continue to build himself back up as a prize fighter, as an exciting fighter, and also a chance to get his skills and show us that he's worth the hassle and the talk, because we've been talking about Ryan for quite some time. It's a good thing to see, right?
That's a fact. And here's the thing too, right? Devin's got a belt. Tank has been elevated to the Super Bowl, but Tank has had belts before in different classes. Tio's had belts, right? Tio's, whether you think he's undisputed or not, that's a subject for another day. But he was definitely unified, to say the least. Rolly got a strap. They would love to get Ryan a strap. You know what I'm saying? That'd be the easiest way to a strap right now. Because if you look at that, Regis got a strap over there. We don't know what he's gonna do. We don't know what's gonna happen with him and Devin. Matia's got a strap, right? I don't think you want to go the fucking IBF route. If you go the WBO route, like we say, you have to fight Tio. So the WBA route, Ryan is ranked 4th. That's the easiest way to a strap. Now, you said that is the money fight. He's 4. He jumps over Barroso, Sims, and O'Hara Davies. But they'll make that. They don't give a fuck. It's what sells. You know what I'm saying? So that's the WB. The WBA is the best route for him to getting a strap. And I think he takes, at the end of the day, I think he takes that strap from Rolly, and then maybe he gets a couple of stay busy fights, and then they unify with somebody. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think you've heard the speculation potentially. I mean, Broner can, I would love to see him because see what makes that fight, because he's another guy. He ain't even in no weight class.
Who?
He's just out here. Broner.
They postponed his fight. Wasn't he supposed to fight last week?
Yeah, not only that, remember before that, not only did he, I'm putting it out there because until somebody prove me wrong, the homeboy Bill Cunningham Esquire is the fucking attorney for King Promotions.
Yeah.
And he happened to be an amateur fighter, and he jumped in the ring. And he's like,
that was crazy.
So and again, that was at a catch weight. So you fought a fucking attorney at a catch weight.
That was terrible.
So
fucking
I know you can, but I'm saying the name. And say Q was like, hell no. But I'm saying Q because neither one of these motherfuckers is established in the clear weight division. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So it's like if you need a name, and if you need a way to sell the fight by virtue of the back and forth, the dialogue, right?
Yeah. It's Rolly or
and then make
Broner.
it comfortable when you talk about issues with weight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Ryan definitely has he's got a lot of opportunities, and he created that with what he did on Saturday, man. Salute.
Yeah. That's
and wasn't there chatter about Rolly potentially fighting Barossa? I thought.
No, he already fought. He already fought.
Yeah, they already fought.
But he calls him the old man. Listen, he was, and I'm not trying to shit on Rolly because I like Rolly, but I seen him on Fight Hype today, and he was basically saying he took the fight 2 weeks notice. He had different sparring partners. He was preparing. He wasn't preparing for Barroso. He made a lot of excuses. Listen, that it is what it is, man. Like Rolly actually boxed well in that Tank fight. A lot of people like to say Rolly don't got no skills, and I understand why they say that. He looked decent, but Tank was setting traps for him. But I would like to see where Rolly's progression is. You know what I'm saying? So
that's a big question. Big question.
Yeah, we'll see what that. But either way, that's a big money fight. But let's move on, man. The co-main, right? I seen this kid fight a couple of times. Oscar De La Hoya at the leaving the arena. He said, I have 2 words. I have 2 words.
Deer in headlight.
Eyes is all wide, you know what I'm saying? That's your fighter. Everything's like a question for him. He raises everything. I have 2 words. Everything's like a surprise. Special fighter. Nah, but listen, he said special fighter, and he's absolutely 100% right. Floyd Schofield, Kid Austin, man, he looks fucking dynamic. You know what I'm saying? He got Ricardo Lopez out of there in the first round before he could fucking blink, reminiscent of some Mike Tyson shit back in the days.
I ain't finished rolling up before he got him about it.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. Highly touted prospect, Golden Boy. Listen, Golden Boy, they jumped in the ring like, this is all we need. Nice kid. Kind of looks a little bit like Zab. He looks like I might be off, but he looks like a mixture of Zab Judah and Sean Porter. He's kind of built like Sean a little bit, and I don't know if he reminds me of Zab a little bit, like his facially. But yeah. Listen, Ricardo Lopez, he is what he is. He got stopped 2 out of his last 3 fights by Mark Castro and Emmanuel James. Floyd, dynamic, lightning fast hand speed to the body, combos to the body, counter combos to the body, upstairs. we started noticing again, just like Ryan, he started using his jab. I watched a couple of his previous fights. The jab really wasn't that much in his arsenal. This guy, obviously, Lopez, not a top fighter. You know what I'm saying? We're going to see how good Floyd is, and I believe he's going to be really good. But we're going to see how good he is when he gets in there with some of that top competition. You know how dudes have a lot of knockouts when they're fighting low competition, and then when the competition gets higher, their knockouts start to drop. Not because they got any worse, the competition is more. But, I mean, Floyd Schofield gets the guy out of there in the first round. The new face of Golden Boy. What's your thoughts?
Real estate. Golden Boy tried this with Virgil Ortiz. When I say real estate, they trying to keep a guy in the division. So they hurt Virgil trying to keep somebody at 147. Remember they tried that before?
Yeah.
Just to get somebody, just to have their own welterweight. So this time around, they got a better situation. They got better real. The last shit was Cesar Pena. This is real though. This is real. And I think we talked about it last week.
That's a fact.
Can Golden Boy, what can they do with a fighter? What can they do? Well, this is an example of getting the right fighter in the right division, because now what you do is you force everybody's hand. And another crucial piece they held on to, or they have, is Williams Zepeda. Okay, Shakur don't want to fight him. Don't worry. We're going to keep building Williams Zepeda up, right? And then we're going to wait for Floyd Schofield, and just their pass. If we don't find nobody on the outside to match him with, then we're going to serve him up to Floyd and see who's who and what's what. And that's fair matchmaking. And I say that to say
that's
Floyd
a fact.
Schofield is on that trajectory.
He really is.
You can't talk about him fighting nobody else except, at the very least, the best in his stable. Because then you got to beg the question, does he have the opportunity to fight the Shakurs? You know, and it's funny, too, because him and the Haneys, right? The Schofields and the Haneys had that smoke because, in a way, you know,
he's Shakur's boy, yeah.
Well, not even that. Remember, Haney had put it out there about the sparring with Floyd. Bill, that is. Oh yeah, Dad beat the shit out of Floyd. Kind of broke code with that, but it became a way of like the Haneys were chasing the Mayweathers, right?
Yeah.
Then Haney doing this thing, and now he turned around and say, well, the Schofields is trying to chase the Haneys. You know what I'm saying? But again, we talk about things happen the way if you on that path. So Floyd Schofield is on that path. No longer needs to attach himself to the drama that they were. It's all Floyd Schofield. It's all skills. But that 135 division, you know what I'm saying?
Maybe the deepest in boxing. That between that 140, 140, 135, I think 154 would probably be the deepest divisions.
Because now we talk about Keyshawn, like and that's how deep it is. We could talk about Haney moving up and going to 140, potentially 147. Now we got to elevate Keyshawn Davis and say, now what are we going to do with Keyshawn and Floyd Schofield at 130? Is that a fight we can make? Frank Martin we talked about, right?
Yeah.
A lot of options.
And that's the Floyd with Schofield, he'd have to go the WBA route. I think he's ranked 5th in the WBA. And Javon Tank was just elevated, right? So who do you put in front of him? You got Frank Martin, like you said, Williams Zepeda. You also got Isaac Cruz. But Isaac Cruz is he's trying to hold out for the Tank fight. I'm not sure Tank wants to take that fight. I don't want to see that fight. But I want to play a clip, Q, and then I want you to respond to this. They want to throw Jojo Diaz. They want to throw a piece of meat in the ring, and I like Jojo Diaz, right? Don't get me wrong. He beat Fortuna when everyone's calling Fortuna the boogeyman of the division. He has some credible wins. He lost to Devin, lost a bunch of dudes, but I do like his heart. But he's having some different out of the ring issues with some legal issues and some drinking issues, from what I hear allegedly. Let me play this clip, and then Q, you tell me what you think.
All respect to Jojo Diaz. That'll be a great fight to make. But, he got his stuff going on. He's a former world champion, former Olympian. Kudos to him. But as of now, he hasn't been showing the greatest discipline. So if we can make the fight happen, hopefully that he can, make the weight and do what he got to do. If he can't, then I'm looking to fight someone more disciplined and more like focused and a bit more of a challenge, because after I beat JoJo, do whatever I got to do to JoJo, then people are gonna have something to say about, oh, he's washed up, oh, he's this and that. So I feel like if he's not gonna take it serious, he should let the next person step in line, which should be Zepeda, Frank Martin, and Isaac Cruz, one of them, because I feel like they would take the fight way more serious.
You see, I would love to get Frank in there. Q, what do you think?
Yo, I agree with what he's saying, man. Because you don't try to further great in your successful career and want to be associated with something like that on the stat sheet. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be a Michael Jordan that played a 96 hurt team and didn't have no starters and he played the whole bench. You know what I mean? That and how I can relate is a good analogy is what he's talking about. He's talking about when the Lakers won the bubble. Like, do people even count that championship? You know what I mean? Like, and he don't want his next fight to be, and I don't want his next fight to be nothing either, because like how Amin said, like, you don't want to fight somebody that people going to just be like, damn, all right, so that now this nigga's beating everybody up, which we know he's gonna do. This nigga need to fight somebody that he needs to fight some, unless Jojo Diaz comes back like how he looked fucking 2 years ago. You know what I mean? But I don't think that's I don't see that happening.
Isn't that a rite of passage though? Like, for some of these boxers, like Devin had his Linares. Fighters want X when you're coming up the ranks to get a X champion on your resume. It's kind of like a rite of passage in boxing. You know what I'm saying? Before you go to those current champions, you know what I'm saying? What do you think, I mean?
It's funny you say that, because I was gonna say Devin Haney had a Jojo Diaz, right?
Linares, right?
Yeah. So it's like,
and he had a Jojo Diaz, literally. Yeah.
Literally, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, now the problem where I see where Q is going with it, because if the guy is not in the best shape mentally or fight wise, and those things, is kind of like he's a faded version. Yeah. Usually it don't check out. However, it's like he's a former champion. Yeah. Ray Beltran done got so many opportunities. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's plenty guys that, because they still
Gamboa,
you know what
was
I'm
a punching bag for every fucking up and coming champion.
Word up.
Because if you're gonna be any kind of good, you still got to be able to at least get past this guy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, I guess it's just our morality be kicking us, because again, this guy, when we be knowing, sometimes you be like, yo, this dude just came off the couch, or he ain't been in the gym, or this dude that, and he just came in. Like, he could be a former champ. Shit, that don't mean that, he's ready for the challenge of this young upstart that they trying to put him in the ring. So at that point, you like, oh shit, he just beat up Jojo Diaz. So I would think like maybe a Tevin Farmer. Tevin Farmer is currently resurging right now, I don't know if they consider that a dangerous fight, but I'd like a Tevin Farmer over a Jojo Diaz, because it's a more dangerous fight. Tevin Farmer, shit, and he ain't known for no power and stopped his last opponent, huh? So was that matchmaking?
Yeah.
And that's what we need to see. Does Tevin Farmer still got tread on him? Was that just the benefit of matchmaking, or is he still ready to compete? You know what I'm saying? So that's a great fight to me. I like Schofield and Farmer, actually. Or Colbert.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Schofield, Farmer. I was getting ready to say that, Chris Colbert. Depending on his Ryu fight.
Yeah.
Keyshawn down the road. That I mean, we can't see that far into the future, but that could be maybe if they keep them on a course to crash the trajectory. Maybe that'll be a super fight one day. We don't know. We got to see how it plays out. It's still early to tell, but Keyshawn's on timeout right now and shit. You know what I'm saying? But
and he's from your backyard too, I think. I mean, right? Wasn't Schofield born in Jersey or some shit?
Jersey
and then
City,
he moved
New Jersey. Sure. Thank you, Q. I
appreciate
that, brother. Because he got this Kid Austin thing going. I get it.
Where's all my New York dudes at, man? We got hits. That's about it right now, man. Jersey.
Yo,
we got
well, we got Tio. We got
Tio
from
You're
Brooklyn.
Right about that. We got
Tio from Brooklyn. You know what I mean?
He be claiming Orlando, like
now he claiming Orlando and shit. Well, that's crazy. But listen. I think big things for this kid. We're gonna see We're gonna see how they move them along. If I know Oscar and them a little bit, they like to move their fighters along. Very, all the promoters do. Floyd, Oscar, all of them. They move their guys very strategically, as they should. But I think boxing now, you can't hide these kids anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like the way they're kind of hiding Tank. I think Tank is even rebelling now. You know what I'm saying? I expect a big fight when they finally announce what Tank is gonna do. I don't think it's gonna be a pit bull. I think he understands. I think he understands, what the temperature of the boxing audience is now, man. You know what I mean? So, we'll see how they move him, man.
And to your point, I think this year has been one of the greatest examples of that. This has been like a compilation of some of the best and biggest fights that we've seen two dudes, going together in that ring. And usually we get like one or two of these a year, not every other couple of weeks. And December's crazy. The beginning of the year was crazy. This is a good year.
It's a good year. Let's keep it pushing.
So about that big fight.
Then you had Shane Mosley Jr.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's finish the card. Shane Mosley versus Joshua Jr. versus Joshua Conley, man. No disrespect. I don't get excited for Mosley. Pause. You know what I'm saying? Shane coming off of two big wins. He's kind of trying to resurrect his career a little something off Demetrius Ballard, and he got a UD against Mario Alberto Lozano. Like I said, trying to resurrect his career, angling for a title shot. Son of a legend. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, we know Sugar Shane is a legend. Had some questionable losses. Won to Jason Quigley. I remember that fight. Quigley just got beat up by Belonga. You were there. We were there, right, Q? Yeah, we had the Quigley Belonga joining the city.
Yep.
Also has a loss to my guy Brandon the Cannon Adams, who I've interviewed on my shows a couple of times. What did you think of that fight? And what do you think? What is the path for Shane? Q. I mean.
Right now, respectfully,
that's how I feel.
Respectfully, he's like a ballroom fighter. He's a club fighter.
I was happy you to go to me. I was like,
Nah, he's a ballroom fighter. He's a club fighter. He's a name, the son of a legend. You know what I'm saying? He's a professional fighter. Championship level, I don't think so. You know what I mean? And that's not me saying it because I don't want him to be. It's something to where when I don't know if it's when he's been matched against the best competition. I really don't know. I honestly, how you look at a fighter and you can kind of say, I can see a direction or an identity for them as a fighter. Shane Mosley Jr.'s identity for me as a fighter, not a puncher, not a boxer, not a defensive fighter, not a shit talker, nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Not a crazy dog as sparring. I know nothing. You know what I'm saying?
How do you market that? How do you market him other than the son of a legend?
Yeah,
right.
His name on the card just looks good. You know what I mean? Like,
didn't look bad this weekend. But
he still
like
a
you said,
developmental fighder though. This is what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely,
not a puncher, not a boxer. Not a slick fighter, not a this, not. It's just he is a professional boxer. Period.
I agree with that, and we're not. I'm not even. I'm not. Let's not even break the fight down. I agree with that. Best of luck to him. You want to do the Darius Fulcrum versus Pacino Hill?
Pacino Hill. He's a veteran, a good veteran. I don't know how. I didn't know how much of a test he was going to put up for Fulcrum, but. Again, these are
Bernard's high on Fulcrum. Bernard's right. Bernard and Andre Ward actually.
Yeah, and I like he's only like 8-0. You know what I mean? So I think I still need to see a little bit. Because they're not trying to. And I'm just using the example. They're not trying to like morel him. You know what I'm saying? They're not trying to put him in no title shot. They're still trying to showcase him. But again, he's a puncher. He's got a little personality. He smiles. He
pretty
out.
Boy.
Exactly. I was getting ready to say that. I like to say he's a good-looking kid. You know what I mean? Like that kind of. But when you look at not to compare, when you look at Mosley, it's just he's still Shane Mosley Jr.'s son. Darius Fulcrum is already developing into a presence. How long? Like it's almost like who's been on somebody's label for a long time and ain't really get off, right? You know what I'm saying? Like I expected that.
Right.
Not respectfully. Well, you know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Like
Word
niggas
up.
been waiting on Expected Deck album. He get off every verse.
Yeah, facts.
Where's the album?
Yeah. He's like the Shane Mosley Jr. is like the Murphy Lee from the Lunatics and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Memphis Bleak. I was here to go with Bleak.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
thinking,
Oh
the
yeah, Memphis Bleak.
Yeah,
Word up.
perfect. He's the Bleak. Yeah, no
you know what I'm
doubt.
saying? Like you
Yeah,
standing
facts.
next to somebody we know very, very well,
Yeah,
but it's
look.
like,
Facts.
we don't know what your
Yeah.
style is,
Like,
yo.
Yo, that's
Chris
a
Chris Anif and
perfect
shit.
fucking nah, yo, that's a perfect analogy. He's the Memphis Bleak of Golden Boy.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
He's just down. He's just there.
Oh, that's crazy, man. What I mean, you said you want. That's the only card I seen. I watched the end of the Gill fight, but you said you wanted to talk about something, right?
Yo, just to real quick, Ryan Rozicki, man.
Yeah, Ryan Rozicki.
Yo, he's an interesting guy because for those that like boxing, he is a complete throwback. It's like they took Buddy out of Time Machine.
Facts.
And it's crazy because he don't look like he doing nothing with his movement, but it's his lateral movement. He's Jack Dempsey reincarnated, and that's not an exaggeration. I'm saying the same way Kobe was like Mike with that tongue out. This man literally studies all of the nuances of Jack Dempsey and just kind of jumped out of Time Machine. Now that includes some vulnerability, from taking some headshots, but it's like, what difference does it make if you ain't hitting him with a sledgehammer? Yeah. So he fucked around and obliterated his opponent. Damn, I mean, and now he gets a shot at Noel Mikan or Milliken, the dude that won the belt, one of Don King's guys. He just won the belt from Makabu down in Miami. So I thought he
beat Makabu, right? Yeah, he beat Makabu. That's right. Yeah.
Now everybody, let's just call it what it is. Everybody's been ducking Ryan Rozicki. That includes, you want to call it avoiding? Sure. Ducking? Sure. Right. It's the same shit right here. Lawrence Coley, Chris Billum Smith, Jay Opataya, anybody, all them motherfuckers over in Germany, you know what I mean? That you steal a cruiserweight title and run off with it and be doing mad fights with Sauerland Promotions. All y'all motherfuckers been ducking Ryan Rozicki. And perhaps this is his opportunity. Remember, he jumped in there and fought against Oscar Rivas, a fucking bridgerweight he was so hungry for. Rivas came in at 240 pounds that night.
Yeah.
And Rozicki was competitive.
Yeah.
I just admire what he's done, and again, the identity of a fighter. You know what I'm saying?
You think he beats Opataya? You think he beats him?
I don't know, but I think because my concern would be is the wear and tear. You know what I'm saying? Rozicki, because of that style, it's a lot of mileage, and Opataya is a little bit fresher. But however, Opataya is coming in off of that broken jaw, so that's like replacing the transmission. The car could be new, but replacing the trans ages it very, very quickly. Yeah. So you're gonna get hit in the jaw by a motherfucker like Ryan Rozicki. That makes it 50-50-ish. Again, Opataya is a younger, fresher, stronger champion, yada, yada, yada. But Rozicki's Rozicki. That's the Undertaker. So you don't want that man hitting you in your jaw. So to me, it makes it 50-50-esque.
Hold up. We saw what happened with Cotto after fucking Margarito. That shit ruined his career, man. That cut was opening up every time on his eyebrow and his left eye. Shit, and fucking jaw's even worse.
Yeah.
Let me throw a name at you though. Because I'm looking at his I'm looking at the rankings, right? Like I always like to see what route is, the best, the quickest route to the top. You know what I'm saying, to the title. What do you think? What would you think about him going against Zurdo Ramirez? You like that fight? Yeah, I like Zurdo Ramirez look real good his last fucking fight. But yeah, go ahead. What do you think about that fight?
Zurdo don't survive that one, no.
You don't think so?
Zurdo, unless
he moved up now. He moved up from 175. Yeah.
He did look great against Joe Smith.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My problem
boxed his ears off, and then we were shocked. We thought he was gonna bang with him. Yeah.
He's going to have to stay. I'd love to be wrong. I'm questioning Zurdo's discipline for 12 rounds.
Yeah.
And I think that, because he's a southpaw, he has to be a bit more offensive He's
Yeah.
gonna have some vulnerabilities, and against in the best way possible, a reckless fighter like Rozicki,
Yeah.
you can lure a guy like Zurdo into a firefight because he got to dress up. Remember Marlo in The Wire when he
Yeah.
had the suit on and shit, and he was just
Yeah.
so he couldn't be that way. That motherfucker went
Yeah.
outside and popped off the
He,
banger.
he couldn't be Stringer Bell. He had to be Marlo. Yeah, no doubt.
So I'm
Yeah.
guessing that Zurdo, that or that Larasa, that Mexican in him. How long can he slick box? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think he can get lured into a fight, and that would be, I'm projecting, but that would be IQ on Rozicki's behalf to try to lure him into a firefight where he can knock his ass out.
I don't think Gilberto would take it. This is like fantasy boxing, you know what I'm saying? I think like you said, it's too risky of a fight.
Sure.
But I think the IBF is the best route for him. Like the IBF or the WBO, like you said, William Smith or Opatai, and you said they're ducking that smoke, right?
Hey man, this guy has been fighting and calling out everybody forever. And if they ain't fought him, they certainly avoided him. Now, to Chris Billum Smith's credit, he's been tied up trying to run down Lawrence Okoli. So if I had to say that anybody was doing the avoiding and or ducking, perhaps it was Dr. Lawrence Okoli. And Makabu, of course. I put it on them two gents. And again,
whatever happened to the Canelo Makabu shit? That shit died real quick. That was a duck that he couldn't that once he figured out, I don't have to use him as a duck. He never revisited that bullshit. You know, remember that bullshit? Daring to be great. That's the new word for duck. Daring to be fucking great. You know what I'm saying? Let him be great. Just let him be great because I want to go up and fight. You know what I mean? Because I want to fight somebody at catchweight who's lighter than me, or want to go up. You know, it's just crazy, man. I don't want to get into that shit, but yeah, man, that shit crazy, man. Any thoughts on as we get closer to next week? Any thought? You know, I've been watching a lot of the Regis Devin shit. Just there. I think they had a couple of things on Matchroom YouTube channel. They're training and kind of like some behind the scenes stuff. And any thoughts on that fight? You know, before we get out of here, and also the Keith Thurman. We were trying to figure out if the Keith Thurman fight, it is next week against Stanionis. I haven't checked out the undercard. Are you aware of what's on the undercard?
I didn't check it out yet because, like I said, I give Keith a hard time because I don't really know. I don't. Again, respectfully, I don't take him serious because him and we talk shit. We good shit talkers. I would love to get. Hey, Keith, if you're listening, you ever see this championship rounds, man? We could talk some shit, my nigga.
Yeah, Keith
but that's all we've been doing because I ain't seen the motherfucker fighting. And last time he fought, it was Barrios, and again.
You're gonna see him now though, but Stanionis is coming off a little bit of laugh too because the two fights with who we talked about a few minutes ago. Who was the fight? Virgil Ortiz fell through,
Cash.
So he's had a little bit of layoff.
Cash. Yeah. If he ain't fighting Boots,
you know, I like Thurman.
He ain't fighting.
I'm trying to make excuses with Thurman.
Nah, I like him too. Listen, I paid good
but you
money.
Can't jump back. You can't jump back in with Boots right away, dog. You been out the ring 2 years. You gonna hop in with Boots?
Yo, he coming off of Pacquiao. This is the trajectory you chose.
He's coming off of Pacquiao 4 years ago.
No, he coming off of Pacquiao, then Barrios.
Barrios was 2 years ago. I just looked on BoxRec.
So this is what I'm trying to say. This is what Floyd is fighting Gotti the third, more active. Like Floyd is more active than this nigga, man. This is what I'm trying to say. How the fuck am I?
And Floyd came out of retirement, and I remember when he came out of retirement. Remember who we faced? Marquez. He went right into a hard fight. But let's give Stanionis a little bit of credit. You know what I'm saying? He was in line he was a mandatory for Arrow for a hot second. You don't remember that shit?
Now, this Stanionis, I want to ask, was Stanionis the one that beat Butiev?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a tough fight. It's going to be a tough
fight. He's a decent fighter.
Yeah.
He's a decent fighter. Like I said, he's been active for a little bit, but listen, if Keith, this is a really good, what's the word? Tune-up? I hate to use that word. Right? It's a really good tune-up. And let's say Keith gets by this. Who's Keith cashing out with?
Boots.
Yeah.
He got to, man. He got to. That's why I can't stand, not him, what he's doing. You gotta fight Boots. Because Crawford already alleviated himself and said, look, that man could take that belt and do whatever he want to do. Whether y'all think I should fight him, who gives a fuck? I'm not gonna fight him. I got something different going on. God bless you. Took a few shots at him, calling the email check, but clearly letting you know I'm not interested. You know what I'm saying? So now it leaves for whoever else is staking a claim to the welterweight division. Every time Keith Thurman opened up his mouth, he seems to be staking a claim to the welterweight division. No different from the fucking couches. I'm doing it from behind this computer. So hell, me and Keith, shit, I want Boots next. If Keith ain't gonna do it, like, what the fuck is we doing out here? I ain't even call him Keith. I call him Keith.
Yeah.
Keith, like Keith. Come on, Keith.
Man, I don't know how we're gonna watch both these fights at the same fucking time.
When ain't nobody watching.
That's another thing that was some sucker shit because they knew Devin had that date, December 9th. Devin went out his way not to, because that was originally supposed to be the Fury Ngannou fight.
Yeah,
they were supposed to have it scheduled for that day. Remember, Regis was kind of like upset about all that shit and everything. But they get that date. Him and Eddie get the date that nobody has, and then Floyd, like, what's the point of that? I mean, to take away from the market share, like, I don't understand it. That can't be great for Keith either. You got to share that.
It's just corny. It's just corny business.
That's that Nas and Jay-Z shit.
That's that Nas. Yeah, Jay dropped shit every time Nas dropped. Jay wanna till to this day that shit happens and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Real quick, I just want to throw some women's boxing, you know what I mean, out there right
please
quick.
Do. Yeah.
On that Haney Prograde card, you're gonna notice a beautiful woman. Her name is Ebony Bridges. First white woman I ever known with the name Ebony, and she spell it like she black because it ain't correctly spelled. Okay,
that's a bar. Yeah, go ahead.
You know, she's the real deal though, and she might look like just some beauty queen, but she's the real deal. I'm gonna give her a lot of respect, a lot of credit. 9-1, I think about 6 stoppages. The important thing to note about her though is she's returning off of injury. A fighter like her, she's had the broken orbital, broken hand. She's a tough motherfucker. So she's coming in probably about a year layoff, if not a little bit more. And she happens to be fighting Miyoshi Yoshida.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the only problem with that fight is, like I said, it's a good fight. We would love to see Ebony Bridges back. And Ebony Bridges is probably going to stop this woman.
Okay.
Great. As long as, I can't wait to see the weigh-in. But as long as the rightful owner to the mandatory position for Ebony Bridges, her name is Sharita Metcalf out of Dallas, Texas. They call her Slim Goody. And if you really know her from the hood, they call her Chicken. You heard?
No doubt.
So when you see Ebony Bridges do her thing, keep in mind, the woman at Ebony Bridges is going to maul. Sharita Metcalf just outboxed this woman in New York City. You know what I mean? So after Bridges does her thing, let's hope, let's rally. I'm going to be beating the drum. Let's hope that Sharita Metcalf gets her opportunity for the IBF title in the bantamweight division against Ebony Bridges. So if you don't tune in to anything else, because I know we're going to watch the Hanian program, but sometimes, you know, people are so casual, they bypass the undercard.
That's everything.
Yes, because women's boxing is so nuanced and so intricate, man.
Even to me, I'm not even gonna cap. Like, I'm not really. You actually the one who's getting me into the women's. You know what I'm saying? I'll be honest.
Yeah, word.
You know what I'm saying? And that they were Eddie.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing about Matchroom.
Yeah. I give them that.
Like women's boxing, you gotta rock out with the zone and Matchroom because they have like this, that's what Eduardo Hearns, he got them all. You know what I'm saying?
No
and
doubt.
when it's not Eddie Hearns and Matchroom, we got Amanda Serrano over there doing business with Matchroom and most valuable.
She's dealing with Jake, right? Is she with Jake?
Yep. And Shadeja Green. Shout out to Patterson Thursday.
Does he fight next week?
Yes.
He does fight. He fights Friday though.
On a Friday.
No disrespect. I'm not really into all that new that novice shit. I like Jake, don't get me wrong. Who's he fighting?
Nobody that even matters, but remember.
There you go. Enough said. Let's take a shot for Drunk Sports Combat.
Nah, for sure. The only thing we want him to do is to continue to elevate fighters and give opportunity, and especially because he's been doing it for my wheelhouse, women's boxing.
Yeah. I respect that.
Amanda Serrano, Shadeja Green. Shadeja Green might be never getting this opportunity that she has for the WBC title against Franchon Cruz had she not signed to Most Valuable Promotions. And although it is not solely on Jake Paul. It's the brother, I forgot his name is Kisa or something. It's the out you need the Flavor Flav. Jake Paul is Flavor Flav. You heard? You need the entertainment to draw in and get the blessing. So shout out to them, man. So
listen, before I just want to ask you something about Jake Paul, man. What's this? What's a realistic ceiling for him? Like, is this where it ends? Like, I know he's gonna face a couple of unranked guys. Is Jake ever going to be? Now I want to say the upper echelon of boxing, but is he ever going to be one of those mid-tier guys? You think he has the skills to do that? He's just a novice.
He doesn't really have, coincidentally, he doesn't have the courage to do it, and here's why.
Yeah.
We just saw what Francis Ngannou did. First professional boxing fight, he lost, but he fought the lineal champion. He made $10 million, and he's ranked in the WBC.
He's 10th.
Okay, Jake Paul been doing this circus shit he been doing, not ranked nowhere, and ain't fought nobody.
Ain't no fight nobody. Yeah.
So how can you, if you thought you had the potential or you had the ability to prove the potential, you would have. Francis Ngannou showed us he has the potential. Anderson Silva has shown us he has the potential to continue a little bit more career in boxing, but Jake Paul has showed us how limited he is by virtue of the opponents he keep picking.
Yo, I'm glad you mentioned Ngannou. Ngannou, right? He's ranked 10 in the WBC, right? Fury got that strap, right? He's already fought that fight. Where does he go from here? Like, does he need a couple more fights before he gets that? Because you got Wilder at number 2, you got Joshua in there. Joshua's fighting Wallin. That's gonna be a good fight. We'll talk about that later. Parker's fighting Wilder. You got Frank Sanchez. You got F.A. Ajagba, who's coming off a big fucking win. Jared Anderson. Where does he? Honestly, we saw him against Fury, but we know Fury that sleep on people and take some time off and not take shit seriously. Where do you think Ngannou actually stacks up in that heavyweight division?
He's a bargaining chip.
Yeah.
He's a bargaining chip for if and or when it's another big showdown and they can't find a suitable opponent.
Yeah.
I don't know if Andy Ruiz is in rehab or he's getting a BBL, but he's fucking unavailable.
I hope it's the BBL. Word up.
Yo, I don't know what's wrong with Primo.
And plush.
You know what I'm saying?
Right up. No, that's crazy.
I'm keeping it real with you. Francis Ngannou is a bargaining chip for those fighters that may be unavailable, or those fighters that can't make it. They can't bring the draw. Now remember, we got a guy like Joe Joyce. We don't know where he goes from here, but suppose that becomes appealing. Say we got an Ngannou, and then Top Rank, whoever said we don't want him to do with that. But look, my man, with my man, the Saudi cat, he jump in and say, "Fuck it, I got a bag for it."
Yeah, it's with that skills challenge niggas and shit.
You get what? Yeah. Riyadh season, Riyadh season and shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it becomes he becomes a bargaining chip. Whoever don't have a dance partner, if you got the balls and you want to make some money, it's gonna be too much money. Your promoter's gonna make so much money off of it. It's like, yo, we can't turn it down unless we're not ready to cash you out somehow. And we think Ngannou has a better chance than you do. But Ngannou's leverage.
Joe Joyce, you mentioned him. He dropped all the way down to 12, man. That's crazy. That's fucking nuts, man.
Ngannou was a deuce 5 in the Timberland right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's just crazy. That division, that heavyweight division is decent, man. Like, I like the division right now. It's not the best division in there, but you got both the big babies. You got the Dubois, Frank Sanchez, Fabio Wardley still doing his thing. You got some potential good fights in this division. Joe Joyce has dropped Big Bang, the Big Bang Theory. He ain't a fucking theory no more. He's knocking niggas the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? A lot of big punches. I want to hope these big punches get in the ring. And Big Bang against Ngannou would be like some shit for the casual to see because somebody's getting knocked the fuck out. Deontay Wilder. Ngannou or Zhang, but we all, because even to this day they're marketing this shit, the greatest heavyweight card or the greatest card of this year like I said, you got Wileen and Otto Wileen and Anthony Joshua, right? And you got Parker and Deontay Wilder, and they're on the same card. And logically, they're saying, okay, this is it. We're gonna put them on the same card, and then supposedly the next fight, we're finally gonna get potentially what we all want to see. In my opinion, maybe 5 years too fucking late. But like, I still don't pull like I don't believe it's gonna happen. I still don't believe the Anthony Joshua Wilder shit is gonna happen.
That's where Ngannou comes in, because then you got who else? Derek Chisora comes in.
Yeah, his old
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Derek Chisora steps up and say, "I'll fight," and then they plug in Ngannou, and then you got, maybe Wilder will see fit to fight, Ngannou. I would like the Wilder Ngannou fight if Joshua.
That's what I want to see.
You know what I'm saying? But I mean, money talks, and I hope that the bag is big enough.
We gotta see.
If the fight doesn't happen, it will be on Wilder if the fight doesn't happen. I'll say that.
Wait, what do you mean?
I think Wilder would be the one to turn the fight down. I don't think Ngannou would turn it down.
Oh, between them, I thought you were talking about him and Joshua. Okay.
Oh,
no. Between Ngannou and Wilder, hell no.
Yeah, because I feel like Joshua been clearly ducking that shit.
Yeah, I think Joshua been ducking that dude, bro.
I remember years ago, and we're gonna get out of here, but I remember years ago on your man's podcast, The Boxing Voice, he had Deontay Wilder on there. I don't know if you remember this, Shelly Finkel, and they were trying to get, this was maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, a long time ago, and they were trying to get the Joshua fight back then. I forget who Joshua was getting ready to fight. I think it was before the Ruiz. I forget. It might have been. I don't remember who he's fighting, but Fury called in and was like, "You remember that shit? Yep. Like, don't worry about it. You fucking with the wrong nigga. You need to come fuck with me. Like, and paid in full." When Mitch was like, "You fucking with the wrong nigga." When they were eating the Chinese food, you need to fuck with me. Put the money on the table. That's what Fury was doing. And ever since then, I'm like, yo, this has been like out of control. Like, if Joshua don't fight a Wilder now, I'm done with him. I don't need to see anymore. There's nothing else for him. I don't want to see him fight anybody but fucking Wilder. You know what I'm saying? Run towards your fears, Anthony Joshua. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. You know what I'm saying?
Ryan Garcia did it. Your stablemate just did it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Ryan Garcia
did
it.
Do it.
You know what I'm saying? So,
facts.
Well, yo, let's take the pads off. Like I mean, say we got some good work in today. You know what I'm saying?
Good work. This is a good one, fellas. I had fun. This is real good.
Yeah, and tune into those fights next week, and appreciate y'all tuning in. You know what I'm saying? Drunk Sports Combat. Peace.
Peace.